The floor is open for a question.
Hello.
Announce your name.
Yes.
The media you come from. And your question.
Mai Fatty, Chef Fatty. About the press conference, we talk about agriculture, we talk about national development, within the village, town of Honda. Fine. Then again, I'm going to go a car break. Near the Bunker, so long way. You know, somebody that's going to be example, maybe you're about the man can there. Kita also make it over Iran, but if that can happen in Bangkok, I'm going to kill. Nico President Bola Amazon, yes, and
Mr. Fadi.
No,
Meaning karaoke.
I
Meaning karaoke, but it speaks the Dika. Meaning karaoke, best in the
I'm not going
Bella Villa Willing in karaoke, you made a It's a meaning but meaning karaoke, can I question? I cannot statement.
I must have
Don't give a speech.
That's fine. Okay, thank you. Now you will Sandro Mako, William Mako, and you can have Pastor Mako. Then I can have I'm going to take you. Now you will go with the campus. So, never a lot of community at the time, and you put that in a panel. A small day.
When will you karaoke?
I think I will have
I don't know if I live in karaoke.
I'm making a tell me like the arms are back in.
Honey, even to a Kodak,
I'm taking one Mr. Unifor. I could tell you now one.
I could tell you that I think I'll get a moment. I would have been karaoke.
I think that Baros and that. Everyone can you get now? I can't.
Honey, man, you're not a hospital. I'm the Mantra Hospital. Maybe I don't know Mantra Hospital. Men are good. So, men get all of Napatio, TMC, winning Barola Patio UDP. And Mantra Hospital. I don't know they are going to Mantra Hospital. Napatio Alonso and Dole. Talakinda Buddha, so I find you today. Barola Tarwa and Bitema, and they are Sanji say, where Sanji says, I've been Barola. Sanji say, Konola, Sanji sama begini yang untuk dia kena dengan doko ke, ani empat puluh member be polisi lokono, abe ni doko ke lokono. So baru dah malah doko kono sa phone ni Sanji say Sanji kan kono kono Sanji dulu. Sanji dulu ni kono kono. Apa lo mandi kita? Tahu janin jol binara, ya ada be Sanji mang ani fula ayo lagi. Saro jara ya Sanji tan sama jom lagi. Mo Sanji tan sabo, ani Sanji mo, beda Sanji tan dulu. Anim fula o sanji tallulo anim fula tema men kata jada kende ala bundala ala fram fanso anim kata anala futo banko kano mune bela anim men kata baro dani adamala masukunda sanji lulo kono ni la palanso kay baja sanji lulo ni sia. It should go to the public and let the voters vote on the plebiscite because it's a referendum that should determine the emergence of a new constitution. But parliamentarians are appropriating that the sovereign responsibility which belongs to the people to themselves. We need to take that forward. Thank you. Yes.
La seconda persona, come non un dolore di al nada da tipo cosa siamo già presa di asamor jahal even no masa kunda itu baru lagi baru itu kita banyak orang saya kira ada dulu mungkin tidak kepada sistem boleh saya dia overall dia itu hari semua dah mana ada
Orita. Hani for your desert. Ding anin sa like kalenda. Bayaro din sa na ile bola. Ita mo manika dum nan manika ko ya fahamul. Niya ko nakala. Ko be kala jaw yare. Bari manika ka mo wala. Ayo leka. So ngan for nga fo manika ka wala do. Ndo manika ka diam nyame na idiom na expression wonu na cultural innuendos and na cultural nuances nga fo wala kono ndele nga diam woni ko man ni misa. Juste sa diam woni ka ko defo ndele nga fo fanan andu nga man ni misa. Ndele nga fo. Bari nga ko den do men kamba. Man ni ka kamoya ni man ni ka ko be yaman. Men ben nak mo falina ya ka daw ya. Sa ko man ni ka dimol. Wende bara fa ba. Kan do be ka defo ko ka fi ko. Ning anin sa ka kana na te. Ning ani mo de fala man di beka. Nothing over there. Honey, under over my dead body. But it will never be over your dead body because when death comes, you run away. They don't come with it. So one will cover now has more time to be. Why you do? Why must one have time to be? No, so aling nga ni nafiki ya ula. Aling nga ni jawya ula. So benga ron ako na kawo awala bis a very rich. Ari ni ko mafara dro, ni ta mira ayla patiore ma o ite dame febo. Yo ko man dimota. Ya wara ni amo fana dame ya fito ko banko ka. O man ke dabro ni ko ne jar le lu kada wala. Hello. Anybody hello? Any question? Yes. Pastor. I want to read two questions. Well, ask one. There's no way to talk. Now, from your early thought as former minister, what would you say are the most pressing governance failures of the current administration that needs urgent attention? Well, yes. I agree with you. There are so many challenges. I don't know whether they are failures or not failures, but I know we have several governance issues that we need to focus on. One, we need to have a very robust economic policy. You know, that deals with the inflation, rising inflation. There's a lot of price increases, we know that. But some of the reasons for those price increases are also that we are not a productivity center. For example, even vegetables. Vegetables that we come to, mostly coming from Casamance and Senegal. I mean, that is not forgivable. Who is responsible for the rise in the cost of vegetables? We have the soil, we have the land, but yet we are importing vegetables. So vegetables are not bought in Dallas, they are bought in the Sefa. When Sefa goes up, the women who go to Senegal to purchase those vegetables are going to increase their prices together with transportation and other things. So food inflation is here. Food inflation is domestically driven, but it is also influenced by external factors, some of which are self-induced. But there's a challenge there because government also ought to promote a very successful and robust agricultural policy. In other words, agricultural food subsistence policy. That is necessary. The other area that we need to focus more on is the area of corruption. The perception of corruption is great. So many Gambians feel that government is not delivering service in terms of procurement. So this is an area where we need transparent procurement process so that Gambians can feel that every delicacy, every good that is spent in the performance government delivery is going where it belongs, so that poverty will be fought at the root, and we can deal with the root cause of poverty. We need to really resolve the issue of concerns dealing with procurement. The other issue we need to deal with is the matter of efficiency, general government service delivery. Many Gambians have this experience that government service delivery service is not performing to expectations. Whether this is rightly or wrongly, government ought to take this criticism seriously and focus on efficient and effective service delivery, so that government will feel that government is functioning. They have a working government. There is an area in which we need to focus on. The other area we have expedited is the area of reforms, particularly institutional reforms. We inherited a legacy problem. During the dictatorship, all our institutions were politicized, they were destroyed. 22 years of systematic destruction of institutions. Now we need to rebuild. We need to restore the mandate, the true mandate of institutions back to them. Institutional strengthening, building strong institutions that are politically unbiased, that are intended to serve the basic needs of Gambian people is a prerequisite for sustainable development. We need a functioning, a competent, and an efficient civil service, public sector that will deliver to people's expectations. All these are challenges that we need to do. We have a security service that still limits some of the legacies of the past. But it is not to say nothing is being done. Something is being done just that people are not in agreement as to the pace of it. Some feel the pace is very slow, others feel what has been achieved. But I believe that government has not been communicating effectively on its successes. So there is a perception that nothing is happening in all of these areas. But with the new Masakunda that has been initiated, I think the nation is now being thoroughly informed about some of the progress in these areas so that we can we can eliminate some of the misunderstandings. But there are deep challenges, deep-seated development challenges, very serious concerns that we have to focus on. But that is not the reason enough to say you cannot work with the government, because all governments in the world are facing challenges. So because your government is facing a challenge, becomes a taboo to work with your government. That is not correct. We do not believe in extremist politics. We believe that the Gambia government belongs to the Gambian people. And everybody has a right to contribute towards national development with your ideas and any other form. Even if you are an opposition party leader or a member of the opposition, you still have a responsibility and a stake in Gambia's national development. You should not be celebrating when things go wrong. You should have a source of concern when things go wrong. Because celebrating failures of government is celebrating failure of people, failure of the country. And that is not citizenship, that is not patriotism, that is extremism.
A follow-up question to that. You made mention of corruption as one of the biggest challenges that this government is actually currently going through. How would you rate the current government in their approach to actually fighting corruption? Do you think there's a genuine political will to fight corruption at the highest level?
But I think there is political will. The question is to what degree. It's where we differ. Some say there's absolutely none. Some say there is some political will. And some say there's nothing. But you see, how would you judge government's commitment to corruption, political will? Is it because the public is crying that every allegation is not the case? And I'm going to give my own example. When I was at the Ministry of Interior and I was relieved of my cabinet responsibility as a minister, you know, there is these negative people. They raised all kinds of presumptions that I received a bribe from Similex. And it went viral. All my detractors and some opposition parties went around saying that he has received bribes, that's why he was fired. And they believed that they propagated this lie. And they said it everywhere. That is a perception. But in reality, it is false story. Because the National Assembly commissioned an investigation into the Similex saga, and I was not guilty of any corruption. The Gambia government investigated. I was not guilty of receiving any bribes. And I still insist, anybody who thinks that I have anything to do with the Similex saga, bring your evidence, bring it forward, or you close your mouth. So this is how corruption spreads. Allegations. I was accused of receiving bribes, and it's false. So this allegation of corruption can be misinterpreted by the rest. And I'm giving you my own personal example. That a lot of people have spread this sort of rumors. It's something similar to government as well.
Sorry to interrupt you. I am actually asking of the current government, and here you are giving a personal narrative of when you were there.
My personal narrative?
Obviously.
Yes,
Let
me give an example. I understand. What I'm telling is,
because every day there are reports, corruption reports, imagining on the media about the current government, and there is. I stand to be corrected, but there is nowhere that the president actually stands out to talk about most of these corruptions. That's why I am actually
Thank you very much. I think I still understand you. What I'm saying is that the perception of corruption can be misinterpreted. That is why I brought my personal example when I was accused of receiving bribes by Similex, and I still challenge anybody in the Gambia or anywhere else in the world. Bring the evidence against me that I received bribes, and can be prosecuted. Bring the facts. These are the examples I'm giving. So yes, there has been national audit reports, and what's your name again? Alujalo. I will say that every audit report should be taken seriously by the government, and I would urge the government to continue to take those audit reports seriously, and where there has been expressions of corruption, serious corruption and allegations by the relevant government institutions, they should be investigated. That is my position.
Okay. Sorry. Like, I just want to make a follow-up question regarding the way you were talking about the institutions and then say that the former president's institutions, like the former government institutions, like was destroyed. So can you just make this thing clear? Because considering the fact that since that government left, inflation is going high. There are more crimes than before, and there are many other problems that the country is currently experiencing.
Excuse me. Now, you see, when we speak, particularly journalists, do not speak like average person in the street. You know why? Because you should back up your assumptions with evidence. When you say inflation is going up, crime is going up, the latest statistics in terms of inflation regarding the government economy, that is made by not the government, but our development partners, the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank, is that inflation in the government is in single digit, from double digit to single digit. Perhaps the only country with a single digit inflation within ECOWAS region. So that is a record I cannot quarrel with because it's not made by government, but by the World Bank, the IMF, the African Development Bank. They are saying that in fact inflation is going down with the government. That is what the government's development partners are saying. I'm not an economist, but I cannot dispute that. So based on that evidence, I will disagree with you that inflation is going on. What I will tell you rather is that perhaps when we talk about these statistics, people may not feel it filters into their pockets. That may be the case. So people may feel that the evidence on the ground does not support the figures that are given by these development partners. But based on that evidence. The second part you're talking about is crime is going up. The government's position is it is the reporting of crime that is going up. But according to their statistics, crime is coming down. How? Because when there is one murder case, it is circulated hundreds of thousands of times in social media, making it look like there are multiple murders on that day. So that is their position. I am not in the position to give statistics because I'm not the government, I'm not the Minister of Interior, but I do know that there are serious concerns about personal safety and security issues. And I believe that the security situation is not very satisfactory. Much has to be done about it. And government needs a more concerted and collaborative effort towards it. Thank you.
Okay. So now, like I was still coming on like what I was saying because like if you say that according to IMF, but like I am bringing this in our local, local demanding. I'm considering before and now. Price of things are going expensive, and adding to that, the Gambia Port Authority right now, like it is given to a private company, which is the Turkish company, and then the government of the Gambia is only generating 20% of whatever is being made there. So do you think that the government institutions will try? Because right now we are seeing institutions like GAM-TV, there are rumors, even though they are not true, but they might be privatized because like it was not